YouTube? So today I find myself in a Toyota 86. This car is my wife's car. So the reason why I decided to do this review today is that since I got the 135, I've barely been driving the 86. Like I said, it's my wife's car. Today I just need to go and get some stuff at the mall, which is about, give or take, a 10 to 15 minute drive from where I stay. So I thought it would be an awesome opportunity to just do this review and get it out of the way. So you guys know, if you're watching this video, you've probably watched many other 86 videos. There are reviews all over YouTube, so there's not much left to say that hasn't already been said. So let's just get that one thing out of the way that everybody dreads about this car. Yes, it is underpowered. It's underpowered, but in the sense where this is the perfect example of power isn't everything. I mean, if you look at Jeremy Clarkson, I'm going to use him as an example. We know he's all about power. Power is everything. But in the episode where he did the review on the 86 in Top Gear, the results were that he said that there's nothing more that you need in a car. And after having driven the 86 for a very long time, we had another 86 before this for almost a year before we sold, and then eventually we got this one. So I must say that it really is, like I just said now, it's the perfect explanation for power isn't everything. This car gives you all that you need as a car enthusiast. Weight distribution is perfect. It's 50-50. There's not a lot of power, 147 kilowatts, 200 horsepower, but rear wheel drive, skinny tires, and you get to go sideways pretty easy. And talking about that, drifting this car is so simple. Whether you've drifted a car before, whether you're a beginner or whether you're a professional, getting this car sideways is easy, it's fun, and it's not difficult to correct. So I think it's that equal medium of being fun enough without being too scary. So if you do get a bit of oversteer and you need to correct very quickly, it's not like you're not going to be able to pull it back. It's quite simple to pull it back. So if you want to learn how to drift and you're also looking for a car that's not too old, then I would suggest something like this. Or if you just want a car that's pure fun, the 86 is pretty awesome. Then, like, even though it's lacking power and it's not the fastest thing in the world, it's not to say that it's a slow car. And to explain this, I remember when these just came out, myself and my cousin, we had we had Hondas, right? And both of us had a very similar B20 setup, and those cars weren't really slouches. And he used to tell me that he used to get one on the freeway on his way home from work, and whenever they hit straight roads, you'd sit quite nicely with the 86. But the moment you hit the bends, this thing just moves, because where everybody else needs to slack off into a corner or into a bend, with this you just keep on going because it just sits so firmly, so planted. It takes the bends really nicely. And similar to what I explained with the 135i in the last video, where you get so much confidence out of the car, this does the same. In fact, even more. You get even more confidence with this. You can drive it flat out going into a bend and you won't get into too much trouble. That said though, like today, it's a bit gloomy outside. When it does rain, even though the car isn't very powerful, when you take some, let's say, 90-degree turns, if you are a bit too throttle happy, the back will get a bit tail happy. So it's something to look at. I guess this is just like a rear wheel drive thing. For anybody who's never driven a rear wheel drive car before, if you switch over to this, then for the first time in wet weather, that's something to look out for. But for any person who's been used to rear wheel drive before, or used to cars with power in general before, it's not like a big thing. It's not something you need to be too worried about. Then this car I absolutely love for the fact that it's fun. So I'm just gonna get the window down. Fun for the reason that you get to use the everything. I shifted a bit late there because I was taking it. and you really get to drive the car all the way out to that 7,500 RPM. You don't need to worry that you're going to get into trouble, and you get to experience all that the car has to offer, which is something, for example, in my car, in the BMW, you need to be careful because it starts to get to speeds where you need to start worrying. Whereas with this, and yes, you're gonna say like, but isn't the whole idea to be going fast? This fast and fun aren't necessarily the same things. And with this car, it really is fun. Like, you get to hear that scream out of the high RPMs, and you get to feel what it's like. It's like the go-kart feel, man. It's what it's like to be in a race car without having to worry that you're going to end up being dead, type of a thing, if that makes any sense. And the irony is, if you were to ask me which car I enjoy driving more, the irony is, even though this is slower, I'm gonna admit, I enjoy driving this car way more than I enjoy driving my own car, to an extent that sometimes I feel while I'm driving, maybe I should actually sell the 135 and turbocharge an 86, but then I tell myself at the same time, I'm gonna get frustrated when I'm actually planting it. So yeah, it's like you need to decide what's important for you. Is the fun factor? Is it the speed? At the end of the day, I also want to go fast. As much as I enjoy driving this car, I like the top end speed that I get out of my 135. Then in terms of maintenance, these cars are awesome. They're super light on fuel for what they are. I mean, yes, I know it's not a big engine, but at the end of the day, it's still a sports car. And the overall package is pretty awesome. It's light on fuel. Maintenance isn't too bad. Believe it or not, parts aren't that expensive. They're pretty much in line with almost anything else on the market right now. So parts aren't even that expensive. And in terms of driving, my wife learned to drive on an 86. Very proud of her for that. So it's not a difficult car to learn on. And something that I find quite interesting with these FA20s, and this is very different to some of the other cars that I've driven, these cars don't like being under 2000 RPM. So what I've picked up is, like, if you're cruising, you can't cruise just below the 2000 mark like I would do in my car, for example. It gives this like jerk shudder type of a, like it needs to go. So you need to push it. If you like cruising, if you're just doing highway speeds and you're cruising along, you need to sit inside of like the 2500 plus RPM range. But the interesting thing is, though, even though you're sitting at that slightly higher cruise RPM, it doesn't use a lot of fuel. Like I was checking it this morning, and actually not this morning, last night I was checking, and it sits between 4.7 and worst case you're looking at like 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers, which is actually super light on fuel. Slightly lighter than my 135. And that's actually interesting also, because I asked my wife about it, if she noticed that. I think that this 86, even though it's the same year model as the one we had previously, it's pretty much the same car. This one is actually lighter on fuel than the one we had previously. I don't know, maybe we just got lucky with this one. And sometimes it also feels a bit quicker than the one that I had previously. Maybe the engine's just a bit healthier than the one that we had before. Yeah, another thing that I need to commend on this car is the gearbox. Gearbox on this thing is awesome. It's what I would say. Okay, let me not make a comparison to a car I haven't driven, so let me just cut myself short there. But basically, to explain what it's like, it's super short throw. I'll show you in a moment what I mean. I'm just waiting for this light to change, and it's taking like forever. But the throws are very short and very direct, and you don't get mangled up. It's very easy to get yourself into the gear that you want to be. Shifting up, shifting down, it's very direct, it's very fun. My word, this light is taking super long to change, and I'm getting irritated now at this point. But yeah, no, this is a lovely car. In terms of a daily driver, like I said, we had one previously that we drove for about a year, and this one, before getting the 135, I was also our daily driver. This is still my wife's daily driver. Don't let anybody ever tell you that these cars are not practical or that you can't daily them. They are perfectly practical. In terms of space, yes, it's not a big car, but like I've said previously in my other video, that daily driving really, for every person, daily driving is different. My daily driving, for example, is me driving on my own. Another person's daily driving might be with kids, with family. Another person's daily driving might be carpooling. So everybody's daily driving is different. And with this, I'm going to say that if you have kids and they're not too old, so like with myself, for example, I've got 2 kids. They fit perfectly in the back seats. And I think up until, let's say, maybe 10, 11, 12, those back seats are still going to be quite fine for them. So in that sense, in terms of the interior space for passengers, it's perfect for me. And then the boot space isn't great. It's not big, but we can fit most of our groceries in there. In fact, the only time that the groceries don't work out is when we need to buy nappies, diapers, for those of you not watching from here. So diapers, if we need to buy nappies, then it takes up quite a bit of space in the boot. But other than that, we can normally do most of our shopping. And then I'm also going to say this, you know what? If you're driving a car like this, you probably enjoy driving. So if the boot space really is a problem, then instead of doing monthly shopping, do weekly shopping. You get to drive more, if you know what I mean. Any excuse to be on the road. That's just the way that I look at things. I'm being held up on a single carriageway. Not cool. But yeah, no, these cars are really awesome. In terms of the sound, it's not a loud car, but I'm gonna say that I actually enjoy the tone. It's got this deep grumbly sound. Let me just see if I can get a bit of that. And the higher you get up, the more it starts to grumble. It's a nice tone. It's not loud, it's not obnoxious. I must say though that I would probably feel or enjoy this car more with a nice exhaust system. So when fun prevails itself, then that's something we'll probably do. I do have to speak to the wife about that, but I'm sure she won't mind. She always says that she also likes a car to sound nice instead of just going fast. So it shouldn't be too hard to convince her, inshallah. Fingers crossed. All right. So I did that for a reason. Don't let anybody tell you that the car is, or don't ever be put off by the fact that it's not the most powerful car in the world or not the fastest car in the world. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I'm telling you, you could see the smiles, and I always say that there is the indication that you've bought the right car. And this is coming from someone who daily drives a 135i that is stupid quick. Let me just put it that way. And I could still get into this car and enjoy it. And like I say, I enjoy this car more. And I think another factor that adds to my liking this car is the manual gearbox. I'm on a public road right now, so I can't show you the kinds of things that I do enjoy doing with this car. By day, I'm also a teacher, so some of the learners who know me, they know how I enter the school grounds, or how I used to enter the school grounds with the previous 86, going sideways into the parking. It's so much fun. Super awesome. Alright, so I'm just about pulling into the mall right now. I was about to cut off and end the video here, but you know what? I'm gonna go into the underground parking so that we can get an idea of what this sound, not the underground, the undercover parking. So we get an idea of what this sounds like inside of the parkade. You know, it's a car guy thing. We love our covered parking, so let's just get there quickly. So much fun. Yeah, no, it's definitely a fun car. And I think that this 86 is the kind of car that suits any kind of driver. So for example, if you are someone who's just starting to drive out and you're looking for a first car, awesome. If you are someone who likes going sideways, awesome. If you are someone who likes tuning, this is basically a tuner's platform. I think that's what Toyota meant when they designed this car, was the fact that we're not making it super powerful because we want you to do it, type of a thing. So if you're a tuner, awesome. That's why I'm saying this car is great for everybody. If Jeremy Clarkson approves, I approve. Who am I to argue with him? You know what I'm saying? So we're almost at the parking area. Interesting little grumble, but it's going to be much better when it's louder. So just some interesting facts, like Toyota really went overboard when they did this whole 86 thing. So obviously we know that it's called an 86 because it's based off the AE86. If you didn't know that, now you do. I'm pretty sure you already knew that. But beyond that, so they went like overboard, man. You see, you'll find on the side of the on the side of the fender, there's the emblem, which is basically the pistons with the 86 logo on it. The reason why you see that is because what they did was they made the pistons 86 millimeters because it's an 86. The exhaust 86 millimeters because it's an 86. They really went like, we're gonna throw 86 everywhere on this car. You look down on your steering wheel, 86 because it's an 86. Talking about looking down, I know this has been mentioned before, but it's one of my very favorite features about this car is having the tachometer right in the center, so your rev counter, and that's how you just know it's driver orientated. It's a driver's car at the end of the day. So guys, we are pulling into the, let's see, just for intersect. Fun. It's not that loud. Hopefully with a nice exhaust system, it's gonna be a lot more fun. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys next week. See you soon. Oh, before I move off, no, I'll surprise you guys with the video. See you guys.